Lactose intolerance may not be as bad as we once thought it was. Very briefly, lactase is the enzyme responsible for digesting the milk sugar lactose. When we are born, most humans and most mammals produce lactase. However, most humans see a drastic reduction or complete loss in the production of lactase as we age. However, some humans continue to produce lactase throughout adulthood, referred to as lactase persistence, meaning we can have a subgroup of people characterized as having lactase persistence and a subgroup of people characterized as having lactase non-persistence. And the individuals with lactase non-persistence are what we commonly refer to as being lactose intolerant. Obviously, as most people know, the symptoms of lactose intolerance can be inconvenient and slightly annoying. With that being said, I do want to bring some extremely interesting data to your attention. The Maasai are a tribe in East Africa that consume considerable quantities of dairy. In fact, it's estimated that approximately 41% of their energy comes from dairy products. With that being said, of a sample of 21 Maasai, it was found that 62% have lactase malabsorption, meaning they are lactose intolerant, due to having the lactase non-persistence gene, indicating there may actually be an evolutionary advantage to having lactose malabsorption. Similarly, one study looking at the correlation between milk intake and type 2 diabetes incidence found that in those with lactase non-persistence, higher milk intake was associated with a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, indicating there may actually be a beneficial effect of consuming milk if you are lactose intolerant. And this effect was not found in those with lactase persistence. There are a few reasons this correlation may exist. The first and likely most notable is that if we are lactose intolerant, there is a significant reduction in our ability to extract calories from dairy. And because obesity is one of, if not the main driving factors for the incidence of type 2 diabetes, this significant reduction in caloric absorption may in turn reduce our body weight and reduce our risk of obesity and therefore type 2 diabetes. Very importantly, before we move on, this should not be taken to the extreme level by those looking to consume more food without absorbing the calories, because these malabsorption phenomenons are also met with a drastic decrease in micronutrient absorption and a significant increase in our risk of micronutrient deficiencies. Therefore, if you have lactose intolerance and you are consuming dairy, you would benefit from being even more careful about increasing your consumption of micronutrients to avoid any unnecessary micronutrient deficiencies that may be induced by malabsorption phenomena. The second thing has to do with our gut microbiome. When lactose is unabsorbed, it gets metabolized by our colonic bacteria, which are simply the bacteria that reside in our colon, which is a portion of our large intestine. When these bacteria metabolize lactose, they produce two important byproducts. One being hydrogen, which does appear to exert anti-obesity and anti-type 2 diabetic effects by reducing blood glucose, improving glucose tolerance, and reducing inflammation. Secondly is the production of short-chain fatty acids. There are multiple different short-chain fatty acids, but in tandem they appear to improve glucose tolerance, improve insulin sensitivity, and decrease appetite, both of which exert anti-type 2 diabetic effects. Both of these mechanisms, and likely other underlying mechanisms that we simply do not fully understand, may be one of the reasons why milk consumption in those with lactose intolerance is associated with a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, and due to the benefits of the metabolites produced by our gut microbiome when they are provided with a source of lactose. Due to lactose malabsorption, having the genes that make us unable to properly metabolize lactose may actually have an evolutionary advantageous effect, which is why it is so widespread even in tribes consuming considerable amounts of dairy. Understand, this is absolutely not prescribing anyone to go out and consume dairy if you are lactose intolerant, but I simply wanted to share some of this data and what might be underpinning it.